Welcome to DeFi Crypto today. Our topic today is Be Your Own Bank, Part 5. Yeah, amazingly, we're at Part 5 now. As long as you guys have questions about the Be Your Own Bank series, I'm ready to make other episodes. So let me know if you have questions. If you don't have questions, I'm not going to make more episodes. But if you have other questions, or if I discover anything that relates to time to be your own bank, then we're going to add more episodes to the series. But it's up to you. I don't want to bore you with the subject. So if you find it interesting and if you have other questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. All right, so let's do a quick recap for people that did not see the previous episodes. And for those that did not see the previous episodes, well, they're all listed in the description so that you can catch up. Okay, because there's a lot of information that we talked about in the previous 4 episodes, and you might find something interesting in there. Don't forget there are timestamps, so if you already know some bits, you can skip ahead. Okay, so very quick recap. Why are we doing all this, right? So we have assets we don't want to sell and that earns no yield. Okay, so basically, we have like things that we think are very precious to us, and we don't want to sell them. We want to keep them for the long term, like for years and years and years and years. For instance, Bitcoin is a perfect example. We talked about that many times before, but a lot of people, they buy Bitcoin, they hold it, and they don't want to sell it because they believe that over time, the value of Bitcoin is going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So why sell it, right? So eventually they grow a very big asset in Bitcoin, and they'd like to be able to monetize that and find a way to have liquidity out of that asset. It's a little bit like you have a house, and the house grows in value over time, and you go to the bank and you say, can I mortgage my house? I want to get some cash out of that to make further investments, maybe buy another property or whatever. So you can do the same with your Bitcoin, your wMEMOs, your, any kind of coin. Like we talked about Matic before. Those are all good choices, okay? All right. Then we deposit the asset to earn some yield. We wrap the yield-bearing asset. We use the yield-bearing asset as collateral. And we borrow stable coins against the collateral. Stable coins don't vary in value. Okay, only your main asset will vary in value. So it's a little bit easier to manage. Okay, and most lending markets will do that. They will create their own stable coin, and you'll be able to borrow those and swap them for other assets. Okay, so if you wanted to buy more Bitcoin, you could, or if you wanted to buy more memos, you could, and go ahead and loop this again and again and again. Okay, you could also decide to take the cash out. Okay, not sell your asset. Your asset is still there, still being productive, earning interest and all, and you take the cash out, okay, in fiat. So you can get US dollars, euros, British pounds, whatever you want, okay, and buy yourself something outside of the crypto world. A new computer, a new car, a new house, whatever, depending on the size of your assets, okay? And you still have the original asset growing in value and earning interest for you. So that's the advantage, okay? Instead of selling an asset that's already very good for you, you have the choice of keeping it, borrowing against it, and buying another asset, either in the crypto world or outside the crypto world. And as I talked about last time, plan ahead and don't borrow to the maximum. Okay, they allow you to borrow 50%, well, borrow 25%. This way you have a very wide margin, okay, in case that the market tanks and we have a bear market and whatever, okay? So you're not going to get yourself liquidated. Think. This strategy can be very dangerous if you don't think. Or if you borrow the maximum and you think you're going to be, Bitcoin's never going to go down. Yeah, well, it just went down quite a bit in the last few days. Okay? So think ahead before you do this. Otherwise, you're going to get liquidated and you risk losing your asset in whole or in part. All right? So when I hear these objections in the comments, oh, it's dangerous, you can lose everything. Yeah, you can. If you act stupid, yeah. Okay? If you plan, use your head, okay? Plan things ahead. It's a bit like you have a house, you're going to get a mortgage, okay? You're not going to mortgage it to the roof, right? What if you lose your tenants, okay, and you can't pay the rent on it? What are you going to do, right? Give yourself a safety margin. Okay, make sure that you always have cash flow enough to pay your mortgage. In this case, make sure that you have a wide enough margin so that your collateral is sufficiently high above your loan that if the price of the collateral drops, you're not getting liquidated. You still have a margin. Okay? Think ahead. Okay, so enough about this. Let's look at a new example. So, we have the Trader Joe example. Trader Joe is the largest swapping market on Avalanche at the moment. Okay, it's huge. There are billions and billions and billions of dollars there. And it's earning a lot of fees. Okay? And we can take advantage of that. So let's look at the process, and then we're actually going to perform it today so you know how to do it if you want to play with this. So Trader Joe has a token called Joe. But poor old Joe earns no yield. Oh, it's sad, right? So the fine people at Trader Joe said, we can make it earn some yield. Yes, we stake the Joe, and it's going to earn yield, and now it's called xJOE. So xJOE collects yield, and I'll explain what kind of yield in a minute. Now, we don't really need to wrap it, okay? You can just simply deposit it on Abracadabra, so it saves a step. And then we can use the xJOE as collateral. And we borrowed a stable coin, in this case wMEMO, against the collateral. And then we do what we want with the loan. So we can buy time, climber, spell, more Joe, whatever. Up to you. That's your choice. Okay? All right. So let's have a look at that. So if we're on Abracadabra, they added a couple markets. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the deprecated market. Deprecated means it's dead, okay? They killed it. Basically, they abandoned this vault. It still has money in it. There's still $14 million in there, and that's fine. If you have a loan here, you can leave it there. It's fine. It's not going to disappear, okay? You're not going to lose your collateral. Your loan is they're not going to force you to pay back your loan. Nothing like that. It's just that you will not be able to borrow more wMEMOs ever on this market, okay, in this vault. Now, the biggest difference, there's several differences now with the new wMEMO vault. First one is the interest they charge is slightly smaller, so you only pay 5% interest instead of 5.5% interest. The liquidation fee is also a lot smaller. It's only 10% instead of 12.5%. So it hurts a little bit less when you get liquidated. If you are unleveraged, leveraged positions will still cost you 100%. But if you don't leverage, you're fine with 10% instead of 12.5. Okay? All right, what's the other feature that he added? Is that now you can borrow a very dangerous, in my view, 70% against your wMEMO. I don't like it. That's too much. And a lot of people are going to get wrecked on this. Okay? Way too much. Why I'm saying that? Well, let's go on CoinGecko. And you'll see what I mean. So we look at time. Wonderland time. All right. So look at the price fluctuations on this thing. This is the market cap. Let's go to price. Okay. So this is all. This is within a day. So you went from $9,763 and to the low point of 8,500. So you lost at some point over $1,200 on your token. Okay, that's a big chunk. Okay, and we're not in a bear market right now. Okay, there's nothing special going on. It's just people taking their profit. So probably some big whale decided to sell, I don't know, $1 million worth of time tokens or something. Okay, and that made the price tank for a minute. Okay, and also what this will cause is that people that are leveraged to the max, some of them, when the price drops around here, okay, they're going to get liquidated, and then they have to sell their position at that point, and that pushes the price down even further. Now, if you look at look at the price fluctuations between the top and the bottom here. 9,006 and went down to 7,500 something. Okay, that's a huge drop in a couple of days. Okay, very big drop. Okay, if we put it longer, we might have other examples. See, you have really big sharp drops from time to time. Okay, now of course the trend is up and up and up for now. Okay, who knows how long that's going to be. Okay, if there's really bad news, okay, like for instance the infrastructure bill in the United States, okay, has something about crypto. It's going to want everybody to KYC, left, right, top, and bottom, and that might kill a lot of protocols and whatnot. That might scare a lot of people, and maybe a lot of people will say, okay, I'm going to cash out, okay, and that might force the price of the time token down very fast. So I really don't recommend that you use 70%. First of all, it already has a warning light here. Even 50% gives you a yellow warning light, and 25% is in the green. So don't go much higher than this, okay? Stay safe. Think ahead. Think about what's the worst that can happen. Well, the worst that can happen is that it might lose 80 or 90% of its value. So, think about that before you borrow too much, okay? So, because if you're in the green, your odds of getting liquidated are much lower. When they're at 70% and you're in the red, they're very likely. A 30% drop, that's nothing. And you gotta get liquidated before you reach that level. See, you're going to get liquidated around 25% drop. And we saw 25% drops on the chart already. Okay? So people that were, even if they borrowed 70% and the price drops 25%, they're liquidated. That's what that means. Okay? So be careful. All right, enough about the memo. Let's look at the xJOE here. So, we might be able to, this value changes so fast. There was $1,000 available just a few minutes ago, and it's only $56. So I'm going to try it anyways, see what happens. We'll see. I'm going to be able to borrow a little bit, maybe. All right. So we go to Joe. I happen to have some Joe tokens, I believe. Don't I? I think I bought some Joe. Let me check. I have xJOE here. Did I put Joe or not? Yes, I have some Joe tokens right here. So we're going to stake the Joe tokens and get some xJOE and see if we can put them on Abracadabra. So it says max, it's not there. Okay, now it sees my Joe. So we're going to max it. I'm going to approve and confirm if MetaMask can wake up. Confirm. So now you see that there's a price difference between Joe and xJOE. Okay. That's because your xJOE earns some yield. Now, let's talk about that for a second. It says here, stake your Joe for xJOE and maximize your yield. No impermanent loss. Okay, well, there shouldn't be because it's a single asset. Impermanent loss only happens when you have more than one asset. So it's like self-evident, okay? It's almost stupid to write that, but I guess some people don't understand impermanent loss. If you have a single asset staked anywhere, it's impossible to have impermanent loss, period. Okay? Because the impermanent loss happens due to rebalancing. If you've got two assets and one asset goes up too much, okay, the rebalancing will sell this asset and buy this other asset so that you're rebalanced, okay? And that can create impermanent loss. Okay, so what happens when you stake your Joe? Did it stake yet? It's still pending. For every swap on Trader Joe, there's a fee of 0.05% that's collected, and it's given to xJOE. Okay? And it's used to buy back Joe tokens. Okay? So currently, buybacks occur every 24 hours. Your xJOE is continuously compounding. When you unstake, you will receive all the originally deposited Joe and any additional Joes coming from the fees. Okay? So that's why it's interesting. It works a little bit like the wMEMO. It collects interest within itself. If we can finish the transaction, it's still pending. Sometimes the networks are slow. Anyway, so at the moment, the last 7-day APR was 26.7%. That's APR. Okay, that's not bad at all. Okay, so it took a couple minutes, and now we have some xJOEs and the stake Joe that we put in the corresponding value in stake in Joe. All right. Now, what I want to try to do is to go on Abracadabra and see if we can take this stake Joe and borrow against it. So let's see if it's going to let us do that. All right, so we're going here and see if we can. It's going to take it. So let's do that. Not sure how much we can borrow though. Okay, position health. Okay, so we could borrow up to 70. If we do 25%, we could borrow 74%. 50% would be a little bit more risky, and 70% would be very risky. So let's start with a little bit and see if we can borrow more after. All right. So see, right now, one xJOE is 550 MIM, okay? We would be liquidated if xJOE drops to 1.51. So keep that in mind, okay? So that you have a very wide margin. Right now, there's over 1.81, sorry. There's almost $4 difference. So it's a very big difference before we get liquidated. So that's why it's a relatively safe proposition here. So we're not going to change leverage. I just want to keep it simple. So we're going to add collateral and borrow. Okay, so right now the lending market has reached its MIM borrowable limit. Please wait. Okay. Let's see, how much can we borrow? It only has 56. Let's check if the value changed. Maybe it dropped to 0. No, it's still 56. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to try to make it work, I'm going to try to borrow just, let's say, 30 MIMs and see if that works. Okay, so use the maximum collateral anyway. Let's see if I can borrow 30 MIMs. And let's see if that works. That might work. Confirm. See, in this case, because I borrowed a lot less, the xJOE would have to drop to 73% before I get liquidated. So it depends how much you borrow, right? This value is going to change. The more you borrow, the higher this value. And the easiest it is to reach this value, and the easiest it is to lose your collateral. Yes, yes, yes. Go, go, go. Okay, so this is my open position right now. I have deposited 54 tokens. The collateral value of those tokens is $301. I borrowed $30. My liquidation price would be 73 cents, okay, but the current price is $5.5. So I have a huge margin, okay. It would be very, very unlikely for me to get liquidated like with this position. And I could borrow theoretically another 192 MIMs maximum if I wanted to. All right, so can I borrow some more? So let's see if I can change this for 40, for instance. Well, let me refresh the page. I want to make sure everything is clean first. Because I think this should be 0. Okay, we can still borrow 26 MIMs, so let's see if we can do that. Okay, yeah. So I had to refresh to make this empty. Okay. And let's see if I can borrow another. Yeah, I could borrow more. See? So let's see if we can borrow 20 MIMs and hit the borrow button and confirm. There we go. So what I wanted to demonstrate is that I get asked this question all the time. What if the value of my collateral went up? Okay, so for instance, in this case here, that's xJOE. And we know that xJOE gathers an APR continuously from the fees that it collects on Trader Joe. So gradually it's going to grow in value, and we expect that this collateral here, the value here, should be getting greater than $302 at some point. Okay. Of course, there are market fluctuations, so it might drop and go back up and so on, but the interest keeps accumulating, and over time that should make the value of the collateral grow. Same as with wMEMO. wMEMOs get rebases every 8 hours, so every 8 hours, theoretically, their value should grow. Okay, and we should be able to see that appear here. Okay. All right. Did my borrowing work or not? I think so. Right, I should have some MIMs in here. Where are my MIMs? Yeah, so I borrowed almost 50 MIMs now. It says 49.999. Okay, so I managed to borrow twice using the same collateral. Okay, because I had some room left to borrow here, right? So that's what you can do. Just make sure that you're always in the green. Okay, we should still be in the green. Let's verify all this. We refresh, go back in. Yeah, position is very healthy. It's all green. Everything is beautiful. And the price of the MIM token would have to drop to $1.22. The price of the xJOE token, sorry, would have to drop to $1.22 before I get liquidated. Okay? So I'm still safe right now. There's no problem. So a lot of people were asking me about this. So yeah, so check it. Let's say you plan to have wMEMOs or xJOEs or whatever, and every month you want to borrow on the accumulated value. Well, yeah, you can do it. You don't have to to pay back your old loan and redeposit. No, you don't have to do anything like that. You just add the new amount that you want to borrow, and you hit this button which will say borrow. That's it, like I just did. Okay, it's not complicated. They try to make it easy for you. Okay, same you know, if you have wMEMO, you don't need to unwrap your memo, rewrap your memo, redeposit the wMEMO. No. If the value of the collateral here went up, in my case just went down, thank you. If the value of the collateral goes up, okay, you can borrow more. Okay, and that should happen because these are interest-bearing assets. Over time, they accumulate value through the rebases or the interest that they collect. Okay, that's very important to remember. Okay, so I have questions that you guys asked me. So a lot of people are still confused about figuring out the value of the wrap tokens and so on. It's not that hard. Okay, think about it like it's a house. Okay, when the value of your house doubles, let's say over 10 years, maybe your house, the value of your house doubled. Do you have two houses? No, you still have one house, and the value of that house went up. So that's why the wrap tokens don't multiply. Okay, their value increases, but not their number. Okay, it's a very similar situation. Okay, the value of the asset grows at every rebase if you've got a wMEMO token, for instance. Same with the xJOE token. Its value increases over time. Okay, but you're not getting more xJOEs, or you're not getting more wMEMOs. It's like a house. Okay, when the value of the house grows, you don't have extra houses. You have the same house, but it's worth more. Can I borrow more from the same collateral? Yes, we just performed that today. Okay, I got asked that question many times. Okay, and you know, it's a little bit puzzling for me, because if you already performed the operation once, okay, like you deposited the asset and you borrowed against it, you never noticed that you could borrow again. Anyway, I just demonstrated it. Maybe it wasn't obvious to a lot of people, but yes, you can borrow again, okay, from the same asset that's already deposited. You don't have to add another asset unless you want to, and you certainly don't have to take it out and put it back in. Okay, that's just extra steps for nothing. All right. When is the borrowing interest taken? Okay. Let's clarify this, okay? They don't want you to pay the loan unless you want to pay the loan. And I hope that's clear by now, because we talked about that for 4 episodes already, okay? So essentially the value here of MIM borrowed, okay, Remember, I borrowed 50 MIMs. Now it says 50.1782. Well, that's because they charged me a fee, remember? It was a 5% fee. I think it's 5. Is it 3 or 5 on this one? There's another fee. Let's do it here. Collateral, borrowing fee, this one. Sorry, I got confused. This borrow fee of 0.5%, okay, they added here. Also, the interest of 3% here, it's an APY, so it's compound interest that's added every second, okay, and it's added to the debt here. So if I come back tomorrow or in a few hours, this value is going to go up a little bit. Okay, at 5% per day, it's not a huge difference for $50, but over time it's going to grow and grow and grow. So that's why you want to make sure that the value of your collateral here keeps growing also, because if it drops in value and this keeps growing, at some point you're going to have trouble. But here we're supposed to earn, how many percent? We're supposed to earn 26% APR, while the debt is only 5% APY, so it's not so bad. 3% in this case, right? Yeah, 3% APY, so that's nothing compared to 26%. So we're making a lot more, we're earning a lot more interest than we're having to pay. But you'll see this value here is going to grow over time. You don't have to pay it as long as your collateral is bigger. Okay, you can let this grow, it doesn't matter. As long as the collateral is bigger and you're well above the liquidation threshold, you're fine. You can let this loan grow like this for years and years, it doesn't matter. Okay? All right, what to do in a bear market? Personally, I like to plan ahead of the bear market, because I don't know when the bear market is going to be. Just look at what happened last week. Bitcoin went down, 10%, something like that, and several other tokens just tanked, okay? You know, a market crash can happen overnight, anytime. If you borrow the maximum, you're going to get liquidated if there's a flash crash, okay? That's a certainty, okay? You have to plan these things ahead. That's what I said in the last episode, okay? Plan your strategy and think about the worst case scenario before you put your position in place, okay? So that's why I want to be in the green here, okay? If you're in the green here, it takes into account really bad scenarios, okay? If Bitcoin drops 50% tomorrow because of whatever, okay, China tries to kill Bitcoin for the 1,000th time, and then the SEC in the US is trying to kill crypto again, okay, yeah, okay, that will probably cause a crypto crash at some point. But if you're in the green here, your chances of getting liquidated are a lot lower, so plan ahead, okay? So that's what I'm doing. It's like I'm already thinking of a bear market now, before the bear market happens. So I don't need to change my strategy, okay? Because xJOE is still going to earn interest because people are going to keep on swapping tokens on Trader Joe. Okay, that's not going to change. If I had Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still Bitcoin no matter what. Okay, it can go up in value, go down in value, but it's still Bitcoin. So it's still the same asset. Doesn't matter that it's cheaper now. If it's cheaper, maybe I'll buy more. So think about that. Like same thing with Wonderland. Your wMEMO and everything. Wonderland is very, very profitable. And it's probably going to keep on being profitable for a very long time. So why worry? Okay, plan ahead. So as I explained here, make sure you borrow well below the maximum limit. I repeated that many times already. Another issue is diversify. Don't put all your money on wMEMOs. Okay, there are several different kinds of tokens that you can use, like I showed you xJOE here. Okay, but there are other tokens that you can deposit. Okay, there are several interest-bearing tokens, and we saw some in the previous episodes on the MyFinance market, and there are other markets as well, okay, that we talked about before. So it's not just wMEMO, okay? Open up your horizons a little bit, okay? There are other tokens as well. Okay, don't borrow against all your assets, okay? If you have, I don't know, 5 or 10 different assets and you borrow against all of them, you put yourself at a greater risk of liquidation. And it takes a lot more time to manage and to check that, okay, my collateral is good on all those assets, my debt didn't go too high on those, you know. It takes more time to manage if you've got several borrowing positions, okay, across different markets and across different assets. So you don't need to borrow like crazy, okay, just because it's possible to do so. Do it if it really makes sense, if it's a good strategy, and if you borrow well below the limit, okay, so that you don't need to spend too much time figuring out, okay, do I need to repay, do I need to add more collateral, you know, on every single position that you have. Make your life easy, okay? You're in charge. That's the thing with decentralized finance. You are in charge. You decide when you want to borrow, how much you want to borrow, and when you want to pay back. Okay, you don't have to borrow, you don't have to pay back either. Okay, you're the one in charge. You decide how to do all this stuff. All right, I'm going to finish with a couple questions I had on bridging. I'm going to show you 2 websites, because some people, what they do is that they borrow on Avalanche and they want to invest on, let's say, Polygon or on Phantom or whatever. Okay, so for instance, let's say they were on Abracadabra, okay, and they have wMEMOs and they borrowed against that, and they want to buy Clima, and Clima happens to be on Polygon. So how do you move your MIMs, right? Now, typically, I would convert the MIMs first to an asset that's easy to bridge, like USDC or USDT, okay? They're a bit more common than MIMs, okay? Abracadabra still has a bridge here. You could bridge it here. But if you're not happy with that bridge, this is a bridge I like to use, because you can transfer to a lot of markets, okay? So if you're on Avalanche, okay, and you can transfer any of these 4 assets. We've got Ethereum, USDC, USDT, and DAI. And you could transfer, let's say, Polygon, okay? And again, you have the same 4 assets here that you could transfer. So basically, you would have to swap your MIMs for any of these 4. And you perform the bridging, which costs about $1, $1.50 typically. It's not very, very expensive, okay? Now, sometimes this bridge does not always work. I prefer this bridge because it's very cheap, but sometimes it cannot find a way to transfer the funds over. Either the network's busy or whatever. You can always try cBridge. The links are below, by the way. They're in the description. And you cBridge, and also you see cBridge has got several networks. So you could go from Avalanche to Polygon, right? And transfer your money here. Or any of the other markets, wherever you want to invest. That's easy to do. Okay, and it takes about 5 minutes for the transfer. It's not that long. Unless you transfer to Ethereum or back from Ethereum, which can take half an hour. It's very slow and very expensive. So use the other networks if you want to save money. All right. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like this kind of stuff, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell. Download the free book. You input your name, your email address, you submit, and then you get a big fat button that says download the free book. If you don't want a free book, you go to Amazon, you pay $5.99 to Jeff Bezos, and Jeff will send me a whole $1. See you later.